This is Trendsetter of the Mind. This is Argos. Today we're going to be going over the movie Matrix 4 Resurrections. And the question we have for you today is this: are you ready to free your mind? If you can't tell by now, especially after watching other movies in this franchise, whether it be attacking a military base or when an agent loses control over a body and reveals that a police officer has died in its place, the metaphor of Matrix can be replaced with the system. What I mean is this horrible and unjust civilization made up of hierarchy, governments, religions, institutions, capitalism, everything that has taken over how humans are naturally meant to live, which is an anarchy. As the character Bugs says in the opening scene when talking with Morpheus, this is not the real world. By the end of this video, I hope you will become more aware so you can see exactly what SWAT, the FBI, or even IRS agents actually represent and what their true function is, namely to safeguard the rich and the privileged. When the new Agent Smith points out the billions of people living out their lives oblivious, I'm telling you that you don't have to be one of them. And there are so many ways to break out of the Matrix. That is, unless you want to continue taking the blue pill, which is authority, and tell yourself you are normal and not crazy because you are, quote, pretending your life, unquote, like everyone else on your isolated treadmill driven by money and the idea of scarcity, not having enough. It is up to you if you want to at least be open-minded enough to acknowledge that the truth is not what you were taught by school programming or network news brainwashing or even manipulated societal conditioning. It is only by breaking the cycle, such as the one the design team finds themselves in, that we can see that we have lived many past lives, and each time we either face the struggle head on or just be content enough with our material things until we die. The fact that the film includes a sequence where the design team openly goes over ideas with the audience and also gives an honorable mention to Warner Brothers gives a clear indication how controlled the media is and that they are using it to show people that this movie is more than just a movie. It is a message. For instance, when they are on the train, a lot of symbolism there, the bots that are everywhere is an allusion to the average normie who cannot entertain the idea of a global conspiracy by elite families, and instead they're content to just accept this reality as it is, daily consuming propaganda and obeying mainstream mandates. Just look how even the mask that the passengers are wearing has a Matrix code ingrained onto them. You think that was done on accident? Or that the eyes, when they're taken over by the same Matrix code, shows that these good, hardworking citizens are nothing more than empty slaves to the people who run the world. That's because the world is a stage, and until you wake up and unplug, then you can actually see what is going on now, what has been going on for how many eons, and the sad future that is to come. The mirror version that Neo and Trinity see, that you get quick glimpses of, represents the false self, the play mask that we wear every day in this so-called civilization. The psychologist reaching through the mirror symbolizes science, or no matter how skewed and government biased it is nowadays. and they're acclaimed experts trying to pull the individual back into fantasy and delusion, whether that be gods, capitalism, or fake morality that is impressed on the public. For those who refuse to be sane and act criminally, they are reported as terrorists or cyber hackers or so that way bots, the masses, will have their minds taken over by the official narrative opinion, and they won't be able to think for themselves. The reason I didn't finish that V word is because just a couple videos back I had it removed. Why would that be censored, I wonder? Another piece of the message that takes on a more occult tone, with the esoteric being born again, as Neo goes through that tiny mirror, which means diving into the true self. Just as in the previous Matrix movie, Neo, the One, the Savior, is sacrificed and nailed on a cross of light, with exoteric symbolism going back beyond Christianity, since even the Judeo-Christian God has its roots in the pagan mystery traditions that go back thousands of years before Jesus was around. Again, just like in the first installment of the films, which I cover on this channel, the fields that Neo flies over is an analogy corresponding to all the people that are still trapped in the Matrix. You know, the same ones that wake up every day to go to their 9 to 5, or that follow all the laws no matter how ridiculous they are, because the politicians know will follow them no matter what. Or these people that pay rent, which is basically paying for your existence, paying for your slavery. I remember this scene when he is in the construct is more or less the place between lives, just like the train station was in the past Matrix movie, or even if you look at the last Harry Potter movie, when he was talking to Dumbledore. They use this a lot to hide that we actually have immortal souls. We've been here many times before, and each life we pick, whether we're male or female, and what our purpose or multiple purposes is to be, whether it's to be a king, whether it's to be poor. And I'm going to go over all of this in the next video series. So I'll continue with part 2 in just a second.